aka Bullets, YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
Gerald Leadfoot retired at the end of the season last season because of his career-ending crash. Ricky Carvin was originally going to race in the 2005 season, but he couldn't find a team, so he retired. But Floyd Mulvihill will be racing full-time in 2005, and he'll be a rookie this year. Same with Sage VanDer, but except he'll be racing for Team Gaskets. And Carl Edwards will also be racing full-time this season as a rookie in 2005. And Kyle Busch will also be a rookie this season, replacing Terry Carboni in the number 5. And this rookie is Lightning McQueen, who will be replacing Gerald Leadfoot as the racer for Team Rusty's. Nobody even knew who Lightning McQueen was until a couple days before qualifying. Martin Carrix Jr. will race a part-time schedule this season. Same with Denny Carlin. They'll both be racing part-time this season and full-time in 2006. Travis Draftville has a new look with the number 77. And Dave Laney also has a new look with the number 07. Bill Gears also has a new look to commemorate the release of the Xbox 360 later this year. And Terry Carboni has a new look with the number 44. He'll be racing a part-time schedule. Same with Brendan Cargan, who will now be the number 62. But the King will be retiring at the end of the season. He is by far the greatest racer in Piston Cup history, winning 7 Piston Cups and 190 races so far. How many more wins can he get this season? And could he win his 8th Piston Cup? Another notable car that'll be retiring at the end of the season is Rusty Wheelhouse. Now let's look at his team, which still has 8 cars! But Brendan Cargan's left and Sage VanDer's joined. Rush Racing has the same 6 cars as the last race of 2004, and Joe Gears Racing has Denny Carlin replacing Ricky Carvin as the second number 11 car that races part-time. Chevrolet Motorsports has Kyle Busch replacing Terry Carboni, and Richard Chillpaints Racing has 4 cars, with Dave Laney becoming the 4th car. Reverham Motorsports, the Anti-Chick Hicks team, the Pit Stops Revolting Crew, Blaster Charger Racing, Alloy Wilson Racing, Chip Konassi Racing, ECS2 Motorsports, and Eli Motors Racing are all the same as last season. DEI has the same 2 cars and Martin Carrix Jr., who will be racing part-time. The Wood Brothers Racing and Crazy 8's team have the same 2 cars as last season, and there's a new team called Furniture Row Racing, where Kenny Wheelhouse is the only car. Bill Drivis Racing only has Scott Windows left on their team. Hopefully he doesn't crash. And Dinoco Motorsports still only has the King. Seems like the King won't have a teammate in his final season. Sage VanDer got very sick, which makes him miss the first 2 races of the season. And James Clean Air flips in practice! During qualifying, Ruby Easy Oaks has a hard crash, which makes him miss the Florida 500. Dale Carrett will start at pole position for the Florida 500. Here is the last car to win the Florida 500 from the pole. Dale Carrett, a 2-time winner of the Florida 500. And on his outside is Lightning McQueen, the rookie. And in row 2 are the 2 dual winners, Michael Karchip and Tony Gasworth. Row 3 has the King in his final Florida 500 and Chick Hicks! Hopefully he doesn't wreck any cars. The Rocket, Ryan Newcar, will be starting in row 4 with Martin Carrix Jr. to his outside, and Ricky Sludd will start on the inside of row 5 with Jeff Burrington to his outside. Kurt Busch will be starting in row 6 alongside his teammate and champion from 2 seasons ago, Matt Karzif. Row 7 has Jeff Gorvette looking for his 3rd Florida 500 and Scott Windows. Row 8 has teammates Jamie McCarry and Sterling Carlin. In row 9, the rookie Kyle Busch and Bobby Carboni on his outside. In row 10, there's Kyle Traxon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Row 11 has Greg Beeple and Jeremy Carfield. They're just there. Travis Draftville, who's the champion of the 3rd division, and Hall Ingus, a past Piston Cup champion, row 12. Carl Edwards, and the champion of the 2nd division from 2 seasons ago, Brian Vickars in row 13. Row 14 has Casey Gears and Kevin Carvick. And In 15, Ken Schrader, who got the pole 3 times in a row, and Mark Carton. Row 16 has Eugene Komareski and Joe Brakecheck. In row 17, there's Ernie Gearson and Rusty Wheelhouse, who will also be racing in his final Florida 500. In row 18, there's Casey Corner, who came second 5 times last season, and Dave Laney. Elliot Draftler, who had engine troubles, is forced to the rear alongside Krusty Rotor in row 19. Row 20 has Murray Clutchburn and Billy Oil Change. Somehow they're back there. In row 21, some other good racers, Chuck Armstrong, a past Piston Cup champion, and Kevin Shiftright, the son, grandson, and great-grandson of Piston Cup champions. And starting at the very end of the field is Slider Petrolski in 43rd. And since Misty Motocross did not qualify, Claude Scruggs had this to say. You also failed to qualify, Claude. Dale Carr would lead the first lap of the 2005 Florida 500 before Lightning McQueen would take the lead from him. Lightning McQueen would lead for 2 laps before Tony Gasswood would take the lead from him. He'd lead until lap 16 where Bobby Carboni is out because of an engine failure. But Scott Windows would take the lead after the restart, but then Chuck Hicks is second as of lap 17 where he wrecks Scott Windows. Why? But Lightning McQueen would take the lead on lap 18 and lead to lap 37, where he'd lose the lead to Tony Gasswood, who would lead all the way to lap 61. But while pitting, Jeff Burnton goes down 1 lap because his pit stop took too long. And then Jeff Corvette would take the lead, leading until lap 86, where Kyle Traxon is 13th as of that lap, where he wrecks Matt Korzif. Why? But Tony Gasswood would take the lead after the restart, leading to lap 128, where Chuck Hicks is 14th as of that lap, where he wrecks Ricky Slud. Why? But then the King would take the lead on lap 129, but quickly lose the lead the very next lap to Tony Gasswood, who would lead 7 laps, where the Mean Green Clark Chick Hicks, who would be 6th as of that lap, where he wrecks Kyle Bushtire, Ken Schrader, and Hollingus, who flips in the crash. Chuck Armstrong would take the lead after the restart and lead to lap 140, where Lightning McQueen would take the lead from him. Lightning McQueen lead for 12 laps. In the meantime, Casey Corner and Krusty Rotor would go down 1 lap due to long pit stops. Tony Gasswood would take the lead on lap 152 and lead to lap 173, where the King has this to say. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. would take the lead for just 2 laps, where his teammate Michael Karchip would take the lead for 50 laps. But then, somewhere in the middle, Jeff Burnton would get back onto the lead lap. Chuck Hicks is 5th as of lap 225, where he wrecks Michael Karchip, the race leader at the time. And Jeff Corvette would take the lead for 10 laps afterwards, but then he'd lose the lead to Joe Brakecheck, who would lead for 3 laps before he'd lose the lead to Jeremy Carfield. He would only lead for 2 laps before Chick Hicks takes the lead without wrecking another car for 12 laps. But luckily the King would take the lead from him, but for just 2 laps, because the Rocket Ryan Newcar would take the lead from him for another 2 laps. But then the King retakes the lead for 9 laps. But then Dale Earnhardt Jr. would lead all the way to lap 275, where Lightning McQueen would take the lead from him for only 1 lap before Jeff Burnton passes him, leads for 6 laps, but then Lightning McQueen retakes the lead until lap 299. Chuck Hicks is 7th as of lap 284, where he wrecks Greg Beeple, Casey Gears, Eugene Karbareski, Kevin Carvick, Jeff Burnton, Chuck Armstrong, Jamie McCarry, Krusty Rotor, Martin Carrix Jr., and Ernie Gearson, are wrecked by the mean green car, Chicks! Jeff Gorvette would take the lead on lap 300, but then he'd lose the lead to Murray Clutchburn, who would lead for 4 laps before the King would take the lead from him, leading for 8 laps before Tony Gasworth would go on to lead for just 3 laps. But then, Lightning McQueen would retake the lead, leading until lap 343, where Mark Carton would take the lead for 2 laps before Chuck Hicks would lead until lap 372, where luckily Lightning McQueen would take the lead from him for 7 laps. But then Casey Corner goes down a 2nd lap and Jeremy Carfield goes down a lap because they got so far behind. Someone who's not behind is Tony Gasworth, and he'd take the lead for 24 laps before Dale Carrett would retake the lead, leading until lap 417, where Kyle Traxon would be 19th as of that lap, where he wrecks his rival, Chick Hicks! But what's even worse is what Kyle Traxon has to say. And since this was very mean, he'll be suspended for 10 races. Kevin Shiftwright would take the lead on lap 418 and lead to lap 423, where Tony Gasworth would lead all the way to lap 451, where Dale Earnhardt Jr. would take the lead from him, but he'd only lead for 11 laps before Lightning McQueen would take the lead from him. He'd lead 6 laps before the King would take the lead himself, leading until lap 474, where Tony Gasworth would once again retake the lead, but only for 3 laps. But then Joe Brickcheck would lead for 2 laps, but then Lightning McQueen would take the lead from him, leading until lap 486, and Casey Corner is out because he hit the wall really hard. Dale Earnhardt Jr. would lead for just 1 lap before Tony Gasworth would once again take the lead, leading until lap 494, where Kurt Busch would lead just 1 lap, but Tony Gasworth would retake the lead for 2 laps before Jeff Gorvette would pass him, and he'd lead for the final 2 laps of the race, holding off Tony Gasworth to win the 2005 Florida 500. Jeff Gorvette has won his 3rd Florida 500. And here is the top 20 of the 2005 Florida 500. Lightning McQueen came 4th in his very first race. The King came 17th in his final Florida 500.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
I will be making each individual race of the 2005 Piston Cup season, which means you won't be seeing the 2005 Piston Cup races 2 to 35 parts 1 and 2. Instead, the next video will be the second race of the 2005 Piston Cup season.